Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Coldwell Park Farm, episode number 17. My name is Jerry Grizzly Bear Sims. Thank you for coming back. We're just a few minutes, maybe about 30 minutes or so, from when we last left off with episode 16. You might remember we were harvesting the wheat on field number 1. It's a smaller field. And so we need to now go ahead and bale that straw, the swath, because as you could tell from looking into our hay and straw barn that we have back there, we are absolutely out of straw. So we need to remedy that. Our animals are completely, well, I think maybe with the exception of pigs. Pigs are okay on straw. I mean, they could use probably a bale up there. But cows are good. We topped them off, and so we just need to head up there, head over there because it's just right here. It's just a hot skip and a jump away, and it was kind of planned that way. When I saw that field number 1 was planted in wheat, of course we would have done that strategically, right? Then it sort of made sense to go ahead and harvest that field first, so that way we could take advantage of this straw, and it's basically pretty quick to get it from here to there. So we'll go ahead and unfold and turn on our nice square baler here and ease on up to our swath here and liken to so. Alright, well, I hope you all are having a wonderful, wonderful day and having a wonderful week. Hopefully you all took your sweethearts out last night and celebrated Valentine's Day. Of course, I'm recording this in advance and kind of talking about things before they have actually really and truthfully happened, but I do still hope that you've done that. My plans, obviously, we'll talk about my plans because for me it hasn't been Valentine's Day yet. Quite from it, still Saturday the 11th. But our plans are, well, I think once you reach a certain age, I remember that when my wife and I were we really didn't date because, well, we had this huge body of water between us for about the first almost 2 years that we sort of knew each other, were friends, and that big body of water, of course, was the Atlantic Ocean. We met each other and sort of did the long distance relationship between Denver and London for about 2 years. And so when she transferred, she had the opportunity to transfer here to the U.S., to Denver. We both worked at the time for the same company and still do. She had the opportunity to transfer, and so she did. And so we kind of dated a little bit, but really not so much, because we had already become very best of friends from a long distance relationship. And to be quite honest with you, I think that a long distance relationship, when you can't see each other anytime that you want to, and that sort of thing, I think it really strengthens the bond that you have between the two of you, because you get to know each other from a more emotional, from a maybe spiritual, just that type of a friendship, without all the other physical stuff. And so we got to know each other, and again became really good friends. So when she came here to the U.S., we already sort of were somewhat interested in each other, and so the phase of dating and all that kind of stuff kind of came quick, and we got engaged, and our engagement lasted several years, just because we really couldn't nail down a date that we wanted to actually tie the knot, get married officially, and all that kind of stuff. And then, of course, we got married. This is actually this summer will be our 10th wedding anniversary. So I guess all total, we've known each other for 16 years this spring. So yeah, we were dating / engaged for something like 6 years or so before we got married. But anyway, when you reach that certain age, and for those of you who are my age or older, you probably know exactly what I'm talking about. For those of you that are younger than me, especially if you are a young person, you're probably going, "Oh, Jerry, you're just an old man." Well, my wife and I used to go out on Valentine's Day evening for dinner. Would get the reservations, do all that, because you kind of got to do that, because it's quite the Hallmark invented holiday, really, if you think about it, and get reservations and everything, and go out. Well, one year in particular, we did all that, and that was obviously that was my responsibility to do, was to get the reservations and stuff. And so I did that. Let me just give me a screenshot here. Alrighty. So that was my job, obviously, to do the reservations as I'm driving off our Winrow here. Do the reservations. So I made reservations for a Italian place, just a few miles down the road, but it would require a short drive on Interstate 25, which kind of runs through the Denver metro area. It runs north and south, and so it was pretty sure it was a work day in the middle of the week. So we worked. We got off work. Came home, at some point, got ready, left to go to the restaurant, and got on I-25. And if memory serves me correctly, the day was just sort of a typical weather day. I don't think it was snowing. I don't think it was, I think it was just a standard day. And just for reference, yesterday our temperature reached almost 80 degrees, which is sort of rare for February, but we're in this real mild spell right now. But anyway, just a normal thing. But traffic in Denver is horrendous, and this was about the time that they were doing major renovations on some of the highways, including I-25 way back then. And needless to say, we were stuck in traffic. We were painfully stuck in traffic. We ended up missing our reservation because, again, we were stuck in traffic. I think there was an accident or something, if memory serves me correctly. And so we missed our reservation. We finally just basically gave up because we still had, several miles to go, a handful of miles to go, and we were well beyond our reservation time. And we left with plenty of time in mind, because when you live here in Denver, or you live in a busy metropolitan area, you just do things. You plan ahead. Well, we missed our reservation. We ended up, just because we were so hungry and we were just so frustrated, and my wife was even just a little bit like queasy feeling, because I think because the traffic was moving so slow on the interstate, I think the fumes and everything was starting to get to her. Anyway, we ended up eating at McDonald's, grabbing a couple of McDonald's sandwiches and going home. And I think at that particular point in time, and I don't know how long ago that was, I would say it was probably at least 7 or 8 years ago. I think we were already married, but I'm not 100% certain. But because of that experience, we said never again, never again. So essentially what we do is, regardless of when Valentine's Day actually falls, I will usually get my wife some flowers, some nice flowers, something that she really enjoys, and usually a nice card. And we either, if we decide to go out, we usually go out either the weekend before or the weekend after, kind of depending on where Valentine's Day falls. And or she will cook me a very nice dinner. So kind of the way that we've always kind of done it is, the flowers and the card and stuff like that is kind of, what I do, and then the meal is usually what she does. And so if we don't go out, then she basically prepares dinner and does a fantastic job of it as well. So that's our Valentine's Day story. I know you don't normally tune into Farm Sim videos just to hear. I'm going to try to find 6% more straw here just to finish out the one bale there. I know you don't normally tune into Farm Sim videos to hear about Valentine's Day and hear about some old codger's way that he and his wife handle Valentine's Day in this whole post crowdy world that we kind of live in. But needless to say, that's what my wife and I do, and that's what we will do. So actually, as I'm recording this episode, it's Saturday the 11th of February. We have already planned that one of the things that we're going to do is she is going to make German schnitzel, and we're sort of, I don't know if I talked about this last weekend. We went out to, there's a German place that we found, kind of new to us. It's been in business for a dozen or more years, I think. And so we went there for the first time a couple of weeks ago, and then we ended up going back there again last weekend. And so it's quite pricey, and so right now that's kind of what I'm hungry for. And instead of going back there and spending the money and everything for them to make schnitzel, my wife will do it, and she makes some incredible German Rahm schnitzel. So the sauce is her specialty, and so that is what we're going to do. As I try to see through the tree. One of the things that, I guess the thing that we're going to obviously need to do next is pick up those bells, and then as I put our square baler away, let me try to straighten that out just a little bit. I took a pretty major shortcut in the previous episode of Coleborough Park Farm when I was dumping that wheat or whatever it was in the silo, and got the trailer all kind of really crooked. But the margin of error for Farm Sim is quite wide. So anyway, we've got our milk stop sale sign back again. I think I mentioned that in the previous episode. I think the amount of milk that we had was almost $200,000 worth of, or 200,000 pounds worth of milk. So that managed to allow us to pay off our loan, because we had purchased a bunch of stuff up here. We had purchased what's it called, the manure spreader. We purchased that with a bank loan, and we also purchased a manure spreader injector, that Joskin there. We purchased that. So we'll be doing some slurry injection in another episode, not in this one. We probably spread some manure in this episode, and but my guess is that we won't get to injection on this episode. Alright, so I've got my plow staged there because sort of like an idiot this morning, I thought that we had done the baling and everything. I don't know why I thought we had done it, because surely I should have remembered, but I didn't, and so I brought the plow up thinking that we were going to spread the manure and go ahead and plow this field, and I set Courseplay up to do the plowing for us, and got a fair number of bells in this field, which is good, considering that we basically have no straw at this particular point in time. We used everything up, all of our resources. Now that the straw that we had in storage, that was the straw that was more than 4,000 liters per bell. It was when I had that mod installed. I keep calling it bell extension, and I think that was what it was called in 15. And in any event, it's a mod, and I ended up taking it out, by the way. But it's basically a mod that increased the capacity of the bells if everything was correct with, for example, if you were baling when it wasn't raining or had just rained, the yield of the bells would actually be quite a bit more. So it's certainly a decent mod, I suppose, if you are looking at baling for profit, because you can, again, you can kind of get, I think these were, normally by default they're 16,000, or I'm sorry, they're 4,000 liter bells, and I think that with the mod, I think they were about 6,000, or maybe somewhere between 5,000 and 6,000 liters. And the grass, if you belled grass, which I do, just for handling purposes, we've talked about that before. The grass yield of the grass bells, because technically the grass is still a wet product, because you obviously don't dry it for it to become hay if you're going to bell grass, and the yield of those was less than 4,000 liters, somewhere between 3 and 4 on the low side, closer to 3,000 liters. And hay was, I think, at maybe a little more than 4,000. But in any event, because it really messes with with your measurements for mixed rations, especially if you're using belled product, and that's what we're doing here on this map. It messes with those calculations, and so if you're not careful, your mix is going to be your mix is not going to be right. So that straw that we had in storage that I did use up, that was all of those, I'll call them wonky bells, because they were more than 4,000 liters, and I had to make sure that I remembered that when actually using those straw bells in mixed rations, I had to remember to make sure that I put the straw in last, because if I put the straw in first, using a small mixing wagon that only holds 16,000 liters of capacity, it would mess my mix up. Alright, so we are going to pull forward and go ahead and drop that down. And jump out. And go ahead and put the straw away. But regardless, back to Valentine's Day, since this episode is going to mostly be just commentary from me. Back to Valentine's Day, you don't have to. Again, I jokingly say it's a made-up holiday by Hallmark, and probably not too far from the truth with that. But regardless of what you do, how fancy you decide to make your date or whatever, whether you go out for dinner or you just um, you know bring a bottle of wine home, that is if you're old enough to drink, and a card, maybe some chocolate. The thing about chocolate, now Mike Reefy 1952 knows, because I've talked about it plenty of times. I don't even bother with chocolate with my wife because, well, oops, almost had a mess on our hands. I don't mess with chocolate because, for one, it's hard for me to get Belgian chocolates here in the U.S. Not to say that I can't, but they don't meet. They're not the types from the manufacturers or whatever that my wife likes, and she is picky because she is from Belgium. And when you're from Rome, you're going to do that stuff, as that saying says. So obviously, when we go to Belgium, she gets the chocolates, the brand, and everything that she likes, and she buys enough of it to sort of last. We go about every 18 months to Belgium, and so the chocolate thing I don't mess with because she would honestly kick me out of the house if I were to bring her some kind of Hershey product that she thinks is basically fake chocolate. And I guess to her standards, it probably is, especially as fine of a chocolate as a Belgian chocolate actually is. Then yeah, it probably is on the scale of not being very good. So yeah, so I don't even bother with chocolates. I get a card. I will do. Don't even need to bring a bottle of wine home because we usually keep a little bit of our favorite wine from our favorite vineyard here, just for special types of occasions and such. And so, as I said, she's going to make dinner, and I guess our Valentine's Day dinner was probably last weekend when we went to the German place. And again, we're going to have German food again that she's going to make, and it's going to be incredible. All right, so let's get back in our Fendt here and get around this tree. And head back over and grab the remaining few bales. I don't know what our total count was, but obviously we've managed to pull 16 off so far, and that'll do us well. I don't think that we'll have to necessarily do any more straw baling for the summer. I don't think so. I'll have to analyze that again because we're full. I think we're pretty much full all the way around. Pigs have straw. Pigs could probably use a bale of straw, and cows do. So this is probably going to be close to another load, maybe, as they sort of spawn into view. This auto-loading trailer is probably a bit OTT or maybe over the top for a farm or for a map like Coalborough Park Farm, but it's just so easy to use this type of a stacker. And since we played around with the other baler and auto stacker on Lawfolds, I thought about buying that and bringing it into this map. But I'm really, we're pretty much matched up with our gameplay, unfortunately, and there's really nothing that I can do about it. There is going to come a time where I think I'm going to need to make a decision as to cutting one of these maps. and what I'm talking about is either Lawfolds or Colebrook Park Farm, because by my calculations, and I'll just go ahead and use the day in which you guys are going to be watching this, Valentine's Day. We are anywhere from 2 weeks to maybe 6 weeks away from the release of Cattle and Crops. Let me just kind of do a big arc here and make sure we've got all of the bells. Looks like we do. So yeah, we are anywhere from 2 to 6 weeks away from the release of Cattle and Crops, because again, the target date, and I don't think that anything specific has been mentioned, but the target date was March 2017. So again, if you look at February, Valentine's Day sort of being the middle of February, we are, like I said, 2 to 6 weeks away, or thereabouts. And so obviously when Cattle and Crops releases, I am not going to abandon, I don't think I'm going to abandon FarmSim 17 like I did when FarmSim 17 came out with relation to FarmSim 15. But at the same time, I'm probably going to want to take time to showcase Cattle and Crops. I know you guys want to see it. There's no question in my mind that it's not going to be that it will be popular. You guys are going to want to watch it. But the reason why I say I don't think I'm going to abandon FarmSim 17 completely is because we must remember that Cattle and Crops, what we're going to see of that in March, whenever it releases, whether it's early March or late March or just whatever, or maybe even if it's slightly past that, if there's issues or whatever, I'm patient. I'm not going to hold Cattle and Crops to a March release date. If they need to work on it a little bit more, they need to work on it a little bit more, and it's going to all be, I think it's all going to benefit us immensely for them to release it when it's ready. But as we all know, basically Cattle and Crops, what we're going to see of that in March is not the finished product. It's not everything that Cattle and Crops will be when it is officially released sometime in the fall of 2017. So this is sort of, think of this as a preview version, or still somewhat of a work in place. I'm just going to set those up there. Somewhat of a work in place type setup. And so because it's going to be somewhat limited in its functionality, it may not be able, we may not be able to do, like a true Let's Play type series, because there may just not be enough of it and enough functionality and enough equipment and things like that to really do that. But you guys, I know you guys want to see it. Not everyone got involved with the crowdfunding, and so having said that, I know that that you want to see it, and I want to show it to you. Trust me, I want to showcase it as much as you guys want to see it. So no question about that at all. All right, let's get this last stack of 3 out of the way, and we will lower that, and I'll sort that out later. I'm stuck. All right. All right, I'm going to drop that there. We are already at our 30-minute mark. What I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this. I'm going to grab this manure spreader, which I've already filled up for you guys, just to speed time up just a little bit. And we're going to go and spread whatever we can do from this load. I don't know if this load will do the entire field, kind of doubt it, considering that one load just barely covered the other 2 fields that we did the other day. But in any event, we will put some manure on this field, and then off camera I will finish the manure spreading, and then also go ahead and plow this field and just basically get this field ready to do with whatever we want to do with it. Now keep in mind that the Seasons mod hasn't updated in a couple of weeks, and so as a result of that, there is, we're still only, the fields still only absorb or utilize one application of fertilizer. And so, if we do any additional fertilization, it's sort of just the storyline, and I really haven't been doing that, just because it's quite a lot of work as it is. And so since let's see, unfold that and turn it on. Now the weird thing is, let me see something here. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that the other day when I was using this manure spreader, when I would flip the B key on, the door would open up, and then when I would hit the B key again, the door would close. So I'm wondering if something was adjusted in the 1.4 patch, because this is the first time that I've actually used this this manure spreader since 1.4 was released. And most likely, I know, probably should have started over on the other side and worked our way over towards the gate, but well, we're not painting the floor, so we'll be okay, I think. We will be okay. Doing this just takes a little bit more concentration than and then we're off again. We'll just kind of do a crude headland kinda, and then just kind of see what we can do. I doubt very seriously if this trailer load will get us 100% complete with this, and again, as I said, I will finish the rest of it up off camera. But I do know a couple of you guys commented about the manure spreader, saying that you appreciated me showing it, and so this is just this is not a mod, this is the in-game Joskin that's available in the store. So go out there and get it if you so desire to want to spread a little manure, if you've got the manure to spare. Of course, we've got lots of manure between what we have here at Chantry Farm, at the dairy farm, and then what we have up at the pigs. I'm sure the pigs are producing lots and lots of good manure. So we have plenty. It really just boils down to whether or not we really want to, do manure spreading, because it is somewhat time consuming, probably a little bit more time consuming to do manure spreading than it is to do liquid manure, because with liquid manure we can basically back up a tanker to the liquid manure connection point and pump it into the trailer and haul the trailer to the field and pump it from the trailer right into the sprayer if we want to. And but with solid manure, obviously we've got to load that, and we've got to transport it. Now, of course, we could load up larger portions and haul to the field and dump anywhere with that wonderful feature that we now have, part of FarmSim 17. But I figure for a small field like this, and especially since it's relatively close to the dairy farm, we would just go ahead and do this. I sort of had a sneaky suspicion that one trailer would not do it. And of course, my overlapping, if I was spot on, if I was using GPS, it's possible that my yield would have gone just a little bit further than it did, but hey ho, it's okay. All right, well, I'm going to, we're about 36 minutes or so into the video, so I'm going to go ahead and end it here, and I do apologize for dominating so much time on Valentine's Day. Just wanted to share with you a little bit about that. I know that I know many of you have commented and said that you enjoy sort of getting to know me from my personal side of things, and I'm the type of person that, well, if you're willing to listen, I'm pretty much willing to share. Obviously I'm not going to tell you exactly where I live and all that kind of stuff, but I don't mind sharing things about myself and about my family and whatnot, and so it just kind of mixes things up a little bit. When you record right now 6 episodes a week, there's only so much farm sim news, and I know many of you guys want me to role play this stuff, and I'm going to try to do that. Maybe it makes sense to role play the start of a brand new map instead of trying to jump in and do it do it in an already existing one. I don't know. I know you guys probably don't really care one way or the other, but in any event, it is just what it is. And so I'm just going to head over here and grab our bucket and go ahead and just start saying thank you all so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Please make sure that you check out the PCSG as well as Three Dudes Gaming Network, where I hang out, both of those sites. So if you have questions, if you're looking for communities where you can share your virtual simulation type experience, because we do more than just farming type of games, those are 2 wonderful communities. And the great thing about them, and I can't speak highly enough for both PCSG, which I've been a member of for about 2 years, I guess, as well as the Three Dudes Gaming Network, which I've been a member of for probably about 3 or 4 months because it's relatively new, is that you've got good people. The admins, the moderators, those types of people are, occasionally we have to swing the band hammer, or we have to moderate just a little bit, but for the most part, we're very, very patient, very understanding. If you ask a question, I've yet to see anyone get chastised for asking a question because they should have done a search first. Sometimes you can just be so frustrated that, try as hard as you might, you may search for something. You may honestly do your due diligence and try to search for an answer in forums where people are talking about so many different things, and you find something, and well, maybe it's kind of like the problem you're having, but maybe it's not. And so you ask the question, and then what happens? Somebody comes along and says, "Hey, you idiot, why didn't you Why didn't you do a search first? Well, you probably already did a search, but you're frustrated, you're having problems, or you've got questions, you don't know how to do this or do that. Well, at both PCSG and Three Dudes Gaming Network, you're not going to get chastised for that. Yeah, we would encourage you to search our forums, and you may or may not find the answer that you're looking for. But I've got one word of advice for you. If you're new to, simulation-based gaming, and you frequently run into the wall like I do, then if you can't find your answer, one thing that I sort of learned a long, long time ago, and maybe you shouldn't have to do this because maybe these forums shouldn't be so rude and crude and everything else, but just say, look, I tried searching for the answer on my own. I found a few threads that kind of similar resemble my problem, but not so much. I'm really seeing something a little bit different. Preface your post with that information, and that might save you from getting a rude comment posted about, well, why can't you search? This question has been asked 1,000,001 times just in the last 2 minutes. Well, anyway, we're not like that at either of those forums. I wouldn't be a part of them if we were like that. I would say, see ya, I'm going someplace else. So I'm telling you, they're great places. Come over, sign up if you haven't already, and become a member and be a contributor. Say hi, ask you questions, answer questions. If you know the answers to things, definitely be active. So anyway, I've rambled on for another 6 minutes or so, and I do apologize because I know you guys' time is value, and I value your time immensely. So thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it as I come up here and dump this next load of manure into my manure spreader. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.